Welcome. Today we're going to discuss how to do an oil change on your car. So the first thing you're going to need to know is that it's an incredibly useful skill. It saves you a lot of money over the long run. First of all, just tell you all those visits to Valvoline and Jiffy Lube I've made over the years, pretty much each visit can cost anywhere from about $60 to $130, which annually can run you quite a bit of money. We're talking $400 a year. So saving that much money, about $300 a year, is a lot of money over the long run. Number two, some of the stuff you're going to need for it. First of all, just going to go over it. So you're going to need a set of pliers. You're going to need some shop towels to clean up any messes you got. You're going to need an oil filter. These things are available pretty much anywhere. You can pick them up: Walmart, Amazon, AutoZone, go figure. This particular one cost me about $4, and actually my wife picked it up, and she will admit to you she knows nothing about cars. And a couple other things that are very handy: set of neoprene gloves, protect you from abrasions, cuts, and of course getting oil all over your hands, which I don't really love doing. You're also going to need a socket set. Some basic information about your car. This is your owner vehicle manual. You're going to need this to know how much oil to put in your car. For most small vehicles, small to mid-sized cars, you're talking about 5 quarts, which the oil is actually sold in standard 5-quart jugs. So these are very handy if you pick them up. This particular one cost me about 18 bucks at Walmart. It was on rebate too, and they have a lot of rebates for oil. It saves you a lot of money. The whole set of this stuff, the tools that you're going to be buying, $40 to $50 for your initial investment of tools, about $25, $22 to $25 for your oil and your filter, and ultimately you're just going to make that investment once for the tools and the other ones regularly, of course, but ultimately it's going to save you a lot of money for those oil changes, like I said. Last couple of things you're going to need. First, this is a critical tool. These are jack stands. They come in sets of 2. You get them on Amazon for about $20. They can hold a lot of weight, and they're absolutely critical for vehicle maintenance. Do not ever jack up your car without putting these under for safety purposes. Okay. Another thing you're going to need is your drip pan. This holds oil. This particular one I picked up for about 10 bucks. You can pick it from Amazon or AutoZone for about that much. You can get even cheaper ones for about $3 to $4. And they're excellent things, and you're going to need them for this. Save a lot of things. The last details. All these things that you're going to have, like I said, you're going to pick them up once and then repeatedly use them over the years, so don't think you're going to have to throw these out or anything. These are very handy items. So let's get to talking about how to do the oil change. First of all, what you're going to do is you're going to be jacking up your car. I'll be showing you the steps on how to do this here in a few minutes, or in a moment or two, but I just want to talk you through it. You're going to jack up your car. You're going to stick your jack stands under it in the safe spots. I'll show you where to on most vehicles. And then you're going to be putting your drip pan underneath your oil plug, removing your oil plug, which will begin draining all the oil out. It's going to take about anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes, depending on how much oil you have in your car. After it's drained out, you can replace the plug, pull out the drip pan out from underneath, and you can actually just lower your car at that point and take it off the jack stands. On the top of the car, you'll be putting in your oil from the top of your from your oil feed cap. Also at that point, you'll be pulling off your oil filter, which on my particular car is on the top. On some vehicles, you see it located underneath your car, so you don't need to switch it when you're doing the drainage part. But either way, it's a very simple process of removing it and just replacing it with the new one. Like I showed you before, these things are very easy to remove. This particular one attaches to the actual inside of my the oil cap for this, but however your model works. Hi everyone, so here's where I am at. So I've already placed a few things here because I wanted to give you an idea of what it's going to look like when you're actually down here. So first of all, I didn't mention in the previous video, but you are going to need your jack. All cars come with those as standard equipment. However, the ones that come standard aren't quite as nice as the ones you can buy for a little bit more. I decided to purchase one. You get this one, which is only about $60. You can get this one like Harbor Freight. You can also get it online at Amazon or at Walmart. They're very inexpensive items, but they're very handy. And again, these things you can use if you want with your regular car. You can stick it in the back and just have this carried around. This one's very, very lightweight as well. As you can see, I have my jack stands already in place. The reason that they are there, just to remind you, is a jack is not designed to always hold up your car. If this thing fails, those things are my safety net. They will keep the car from hurting me if it falls. I already have my oil the drain pan in place. Very simple. If you want to look a little bit lower here, I have right here, this is where your oil actually is in. This whole thing. Your drain plug, which is actually behind it, is right here. All you need to do is take your socket set, which I already have. You simply attach it to it. And just like we always do, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, just loosen it up. Once it's all the way loose and pops off, it's going to start draining the oil. You want to obviously have your drip pan in place so you're not getting oil everywhere in your garage. After you're done with this step, you're going to simply undo what you've done. You're going to put your drain plug back in place, screwing all the way back on. You don't need to overly tighten it. Hand tight, just a couple of really good tightens. Just hand tight pretty much is what you're looking at. With your socket set. Once you've done that, you're going to remove your drain pan, take the weight off your jack stands with your jack, remove your jack stands, drop your car. Oh, and I almost forgot the critical step before you even jack up your car. I apologize. You have to put on the e-brake. The emergency brake keeps the car from rolling back where your car is lifted in the air. That is an important step as well. After you're done with that, you're going to get up. So here we are on the top of the motor. I just wanted to show you how to replace your oil filter, as well as to add back the oil that we just drained, obviously new oil, into your motor. So the process is as it stands. So on this, like I said, this is my specific car's motor. However, these steps are very similar. Doesn't matter what type of vehicle you have. All cars will have it labeled. Your oil adding cap will have it labeled. This is where you're going to be putting the oil into. So on this particular one, all you have to do is twist it a little bit, it pops right off. Nothing special, nothing fancy about it. Then down here on this particular one, this is where I actually removed the oil filter cap. And like I mentioned earlier, this particular one actually inserts directly into the filter cap. Also, I needed to use pliers on this particular one, or if you have a very large socket, this actually is a socket hole, but it is a very, very large one, and I didn't actually have one of those to hand, so I had to do it with a wrench, or correction, with a set of pliers. Now that I have that off, so I'm going to show you actually the process of removing this. Simply pop it off, get out your new one out of here. You're going to just be putting it right in there. Just place it. This also has a ring around it. It's an O-ring. Every single one of these comes with a brand new provided. I'm going to be replacing it. All you need to do to replace it, though, on this particular one, it has a little divot in the grooves along here. So you take a little screwdriver, pop it under there, pull it off, and you pop on the new one. That's it. Also, try not to wipe all the oil off of this thing because it actually helps seal it when you put it back in. So all you have to do to put it back in is simply move a little bit this aside, drop it in there, and make sure it's good and seated properly, and then just start tightening down. I have it hand tight. I'm going to put a little bit more torque on it with my pliers just to get it nice and seated well. Take a couple moments for it. That's it. Once it's all the way seated, all you got to do at that point is start adding the oil to your oil filter adder cap. Like I said, I have this particular one. I also have a very, very cheap, inexpensive, can't remember the term right now, funnel, sorry, oil funnel for this. Again, these are like a couple of bucks at like AutoZone or Walmart. Pick them up anywhere. So all you got to do, just pour it in there. For this particular model vehicle, because it is one of those small to mid-sized cars I mentioned earlier, just the 5 quarts. You just drain this whole thing into there, take it off, put the cap back on, and then you're going to take this little piece right here. This is my oil dipstick. It'll tell me the level of oil in my engine. You simply pull it out. You make sure that it's at the mark indicated. In this case, it's just in one of those little grooves right there. You're just going to show one of these little grooves, the one you're going to need. As long as it's showing the full or nearly full, you're good to go at that point. Also, one last note on these cars. On this particular model, you have to go in and turn on the car, and you can actually reset the oil life indicator, so the computer will actually warn you when it needs your next oil change. For this one, it tells me every about 3,000 miles when it's ready. I track the miles anyways on my own, but it's a very handy indicator. And for those who don't always do it themselves and aren't worrying as much about it all the time, it reminds you in time to do it. So if you're not sure how to do that, consult your owner's manual. It's very simple from car to car, and you can do that on your own. Usually it only takes me about 3 or 4 seconds to do when I step in my car. So I hope this video has been helpful for you. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. And thank you very much for watching, and you have a wonderful day.